Hello, 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 happily committed community. I am excited to be back here again. I love doing these lives with you guys. It gives me the ability to connect with you guys and just feel like I am somewhat present or at least in the room with you guys. Happy New Year's to everybody. Hope everybody's New Year's is going well so far. I know 2021 was a little intense. 2020 was a little intense. So hoping for a better 2022 for all of you guys. I'm going to give it a few minutes just to let more people join before we jump right into what our topic is today, which is the secrets to a successful relationship. Let's see here. Hello, Jason. Nice to see you. Why don't you guys give a couple of shout outs in the comment section so that I know that you guys are here with me, that you guys are excited for the live. And yeah, make sure that you guys can hear me and see me and all of those things. You know, I never really know with these lives if you're able to fully hear me or not. I definitely need to get a better camera so that it's not so choppy. Let's see. Happy New Year. And thank you, Danny, you too. Perfect. So nice. I'm not sure how to pronounce the name. I want to say Fo. Hopefully that is correct. Lisa, nice to see you. Cynthia, so nice to see you. Thank you for letting me know that I'm good and that you can hear me. I appreciate that. Let's see. Justice, what is going on, my man? How are you? Sorry if you guys are also picking up on this really weird sound. There's actually a dove that just landed right outside my window and it's making its cooing noise. Dora, hello from Saudi Arabia. Yeah, let me know where you guys are listening from or where you guys are joining from. I always love to see where everybody is from, whether it's domestic, international, whatever the case may be. All right. And so what I'm also going to do too is these lives are usually a little bit shorter, right? So they usually run anywhere between 10 and 15 minutes, but I will save some time towards the end of this live to have kind of like a Q&A, answer any questions that you guys may have. Obviously, I can't get to every single question, but I'll do my best to kind of go through and see. So I would definitely suggest staying through to the end of the live so we can go through that question and answers. So let's see here. We've got California, we've got Massachusetts, we've got Canada, we have Minnesota. Anna Rose, so nice to see you. Anna Rose, I'm happy to see you here as well. We got South Africa, that's amazing. South Africa, we got two people from South Africa. Georgia, Tanisha, my sister, and my niece and nephew actually live in Georgia as well, which is amazing. I'm there all the time. All right, so let's jump into the topic today for the live, which is the secret to a successful relationship. I think oftentimes people assume that on a foundational level that we're going to talk about communication, trust, empathy, understanding, all of those things. And look, the reality of the situation is that those are all elements of a healthy relationship, of building a successful relationship. But there is something that is even more important. It's actually what's at the basis of being able to be communicative and understanding and have empathy for that other individual. And it's what I call emotional consciousness. So it's one thing to be a conscious individual, right? So generally speaking, if you are a person who can view situations objectively, if you are analytical, if you're cerebral, you can look at something and have consciousness and say, okay, this is why I think I'm doing what I'm doing. This is why I said what I said. But there's a difference between a cerebral consciousness and an emotional consciousness. Emotional consciousness is having the ability to connect to your partner on a day-to-day basis. Right? So let me give you an example of what emotional conscious would be. Let's say, for example, your partner comes home from work and they have been having a rough day. And they start to express to you and tell you all the issues that they're having, why they're unhappy with what happened. And you sit there and you listen, but you start to drift off. and you stop paying attention to what they're saying. And it's very obvious that you are not in tune in that conversation. You're not present in that conversation. That is a lack of emotional consciousness. And what ends up happening is that your partner feels like they are not being understood, they are not being listened to, they are not appreciated, and that you don't respect them enough to be able to hold space for them in that moment. So being emotionally present, being aware of your body language, where you're at mentally during that conversation, so that you're actually able to show your partner that level of understanding and care and energy and investment of time so that they feel important. And it's a cycle, right? It's actually, it's all interconnected. So from emotional consciousness comes the feeling of being understood. So if you are investing the time, if you are sitting with your partner and you are listening to what they have to say and you are responding to them appropriately, they feel understood, right? And when your partner Freudian slip, when your partner feels understood, they're able to relax more into the relationship. And when they relax into the relationship, it gives them the ability to open up and be vulnerable. And with vulnerability comes emotional connection. With emotional connection comes that bond. With that bond comes intimacy. With intimacy comes sex. With sex comes the release of that hormone that we all know as oxytocin, which is responsible for bonding you even further, right? It is actually a hormone that is correlated to or linked to trust, empathy, and relationship building. So it's a cycle, right? But it all starts with a level of emotional consciousness. The next part of this is consistency. Being consistent in the relationship is absolutely necessary in order for you to be able to create and build a strong bond with your partner. Because if there's instability in the relationship, if there's inconsistencies in the relationship, it contributes to the breaking down of trust and feeling like you can be completely vulnerable with your partner and feeling like you can really allow yourself to relax into the relationship. You know, your partner doesn't fall in love with you just because you're there. Your partner doesn't fall in love with you just because you verbalize that you love them. It's in your actions. It's what you do. And it's what you do on a consistent basis. So an example of that would be, you know, if every day you wake up and you give your partner a kiss and you say, I love you before you go to work, that consistency is what's building that emotional connection. It's a form of stability. And that's what we look for in a relationship, right? It's those moments, those routines that help to build that bond over time. Now, I want to be very clear here, right? There's a difference between negative routine and a positive routine. And positive routines are things that fulfill one another. Positive routines are things that actually help you to feel emotionally safe and complete within your relationship. So another example of something in regards to emotional consciousness is, let's say, for example, your partner comes home from work. Again, they've had a really rough day. You sit down, you listen to them, you hear what they have to say, you understand them. And then you say to them, you know what? You've had a rough day. Why don't you sit down, relax, take a bath, do what you have to do. I'll prepare dinner and we can sit down and have a relaxing evening. That is you being emotionally conscious of that moment. That is you saying, hey, look, I understand that you're having a rough time. And because of that, I'm going to try to eliminate any other extra external stressors of this in this moment and give you time to relax. So again, what really helps and what is some of the secret sauce or some of the secrets to building a successful relationship is emotional consciousness and consistency. So I want to see what you guys have to say. Obviously, drop some comments down below. Tell me what you think about emotional consciousness. Is this something that you've experienced yourself in the relationship? Do you find yourself disconnecting when you are with your partner, and you may not intentionally be doing it, but it definitely happens from time to time. So if that is the case, let me know. Drop it down in the comment box below. Also, I'm going to attach here in the comments a link to our coaching sessions page. So if you feel like you need more information, if you're not super comfortable with sharing your story on here, that is okay. You can actually book a one-on-one coaching session with myself, and we can go through anything that you feel that you need to discuss, if you just need more support, whatever the case may be. So I'm putting that in right there. I think that I'm having some issues with connectivity in regards to the internet, because I'm not seeing too many comments going through or coming through, and I have a feeling that has something to do with the Wi-Fi. Sorry, guys, we are live, so obviously these little things happen, these glitches happen. So let's see here. So I have some coming through. Jesus. Oh, hey, Jesus. How are you doing? Good to see you on here. My ex felt I wasn't consistent, but I am learning. Thank you for your live video. Of course, I EQ. My assumption is going to be that that is you, Eileen. And if that is you, hello. Good to see you too. I'm so happy to see some of my clients on here on the live. That's so amazing. Marcus, hello from Texas. All right, guys. So question and answer. Eileen, so it is you. Hello. See, this is live. If it was pre-recorded, I wouldn't be interacting like this, obviously. All right, so question and answer. So if there's any questions that you guys have, I would love to see them in the comment section. I'll try to answer as many as I can, let's say in the next 5 to 10 minutes. Again, I've attached the link for a coaching session on there. So if you feel like you need individual sessions, please utilize that link to book. Jim, I will say that my ex had just started seeing someone, so not sure really what to do. That's a tough one, Jim. And what I'll say to you is it really depends on your circumstance and your situation, right? How long has it been since you guys broke up? What was the severity of the breakup? Is it possible that this individual is a rebound relationship? There are many different factors to take into consideration here, but at the end of the day, what really counts and what really matters is investing time in yourself, focusing on you, taking a step back. And if you feel yourself, like if you do not have the ability to emotionally handle communicating with your ex at this point, knowing that they are in a relationship with somebody else, my recommendation is to stay away for the time being. Focus on yourself, because if your goal is to get back with your ex and you are coming from an incredibly emotionally raw place, it is possible that you are going to act out of shame, fear, guilt, which is going to result in you having making an irrational decision and potentially messing it up anyways. So I understand how difficult it can be because you feel like that person, you don't have a chance anymore because they are with somebody else. But the reality of the situation is that it needs to be about you in this moment and not about that. So it's really just about redirecting your focus. Let's see here. Andy, my man, good to see you on here. Another one of my clients. This is so awesome. Lisa, how can I tell if he's 100% committed? Actions. Plain and simple. You know, the one thing that I tell people all the time is that it's a matter of congruency. So your words should match your actions. And if for you, you have a vision of what commitment looks like, number one, what I would suggest is understanding whether it's a realistic vision or an unrealistic vision, right? If you set your standards too high and there's a ton of things that you expect from your partner in order for you to feel like that individual is committing to you, I would reevaluate. But what I can say is that on a fundamental level, right, if there is energy being invested into conflict resolution, if they are showing up for you every day and they are present, if they are planning with you and telling you these are the goals that they want to create together with you, and you guys are executing those goals together, and you feel like you can trust that person with your heart, then there is a level of commitment there that you cannot deny. Now, if there are certain things that you have issues with in the relationship, I get that. There are issues in every relationship. It's nearly impossible to not have conflict in a relationship, but it's how you resolve those issues. So, if your partner is also willing to resolve conflict with you, that's also a good sign. And it shows me that they are committed to the relationship and committed to the process. Let's see. Hiker Biker Omar. Hey, Dan, we talked before. Good to see you. Good to see you too, my man. I didn't practice what you mentioned in this video, but where did it go? Let's see. This video about to send the accountability letter to my ex. Any suggestions to handle anxiety on her response? So it's really important to understand that anxiety is a part of the process, because there is an element here that is unknown. And you do not know what their response is going to be, right, in the future. There's a saying that I've heard before, and I've used many times in my client sessions, and it rings true in many situations. If you're living in the past, you're depressed. If you're living in the future, you're anxious. And when you're sending an accountability letter, there is a part of you that is living in the future because you're wanting to know whether your ex is going to respond to you or not. So, first and foremost, understand that anxiety is a part of the process. Doesn't mean that the world's coming to an end. It doesn't mean that there is not the potential or the possibility for a positive outcome, but just acknowledge the fact that it is part of the process. And if you confront that, some of that anxiety goes away. The other part of that is, the rule of thumb is, you are usually ready to reach out to your ex when you have come to a place emotionally where you are okay with their decision either way. So if they tell you, look, I don't want to get back into a relationship, or yes, I would love to, emotionally speaking, you are neutral enough that you can handle either outcome. If you do not feel like you are at that place quite yet, if you feel like if by sending this letter and you do not get a positive response or a response at all, it will be detrimental to the progress that you have made, hold off. It is not the right time just yet. But to answer your question, anxiety is part of the process. Embrace it, meditate with it, sit with it, try to figure out why you're still having anxiety about it. And once you give that thing a name, it loses some of its power. I hope I answered that question for you, my man. Joshua, how do you get an ex back when you didn't show consistency? That is an excellent question. Again, it really depends on your situation at this time. Are you guys still in contact? Are you still seeing each other? Do you still have each other's social media? Have you been blocked? There's so many different factors here, which is why I always tell people it's so important to consider one-on-one coaching sessions. I would hope that I do a good job in my one-on-one coaching sessions. I guess some of my clients are here, so they would be able to tell you in the comments box. But it's so important because everybody's situation is different, right? Every circumstance is different. And the information that we give on our website, on the YouTube channel, and all of that stuff, I sound like an 80-year-old person, on the YouTube. On YouTube is we try to provide you with as much information as we possibly can to help you through your situation in that moment. But again, it's generalized. And your situation may be very specific. So what I can say to you is, if you felt that you were inconsistent in the relationship, the first thing that you have to do is be introspective and reflective and figure out why you were inconsistent. What was hindering you from committing enough to the relationship that you were unable to be consistent? Is it a fear of getting hurt on some deeper subconscious level? Is it that you feel like you don't deserve that relationship or the love of that person? Whatever the case may be, there is a reason for why you are lacking in that consistency in the relationship. So you have to figure that out first. Once you have come to figure that out, right? And for example, in one-on-one coaching sessions, we get into the root of that stuff and we dive into that stuff. And once you have figured that out and you feel like you have a better understanding of why you were inconsistent, you can start to put that into practice in your personal life. Showing up for friends and family. If you haven't been consistent with them either, it's a good place to start and practice. And inadvertently, what happens as you start to put that energy out there and as you start to really show consistency within your own life and you prove to yourself that you have the ability to be consistent, then you can reapproach your partner. Then you can reapproach your ex and say, hey, look, I would like a second chance. And there's certain ways of doing that, right? You can show that you're being, more adventurous and out there and consistent and all of those things through social media and all of that stuff, but it would require an actual strategy and a plan together. But again, at the end of the day, it's really about figuring out why you lack inconsistency and starting to put that into practice in your personal life with the people around you so that you feel confident enough that you can be consistent and then reapproach the relationship. Let's see, let me go back up here. Oh, thank you guys for the kind words from my clients. I really appreciate that. I will probably not read them out myself just because I don't want to feel like I'm tooting my own horn. But, you guys can read those comments on your own. Let's see. Scott Bregnard Jr. How do I book an emergency session with you right away? So the link that I put in here, I'll put this actually right back into the comment section. So there is a link here for you to book a coaching session. So this is the regular 30-minute session that I'm putting on here, but that link should take you to our coaching page, and there's other alternative options for booking. So you'll have a 1-hour session. You can also book an emergency session. If not, what you can also do is email me at this email. Give me one sec. We can set something up for you. Okay, so I will put that in there a couple of times. Perfect. All right, so I'm going to read a couple of more of these, and then I'm going to have to jump off because I actually have a couple of client sessions coming up after this. So let's see. Thank you, Andy, for the kind words. I appreciate that. Thank you, Eileen, for the kind words. Thank you, Jesus, for the kind words. I really, really appreciate that. So let's see. Jonathan, we've been married for 17 years. We're not married. I made a mistake with a woman I didn't like. I was tempted. Is it right for my lover to retaliate so that he can forget? Well, let's break this down a little bit, right? So first and foremost, retaliation is never something that should be involved in a relationship, right? I understand that from a core place emotionally, when we are hurt, when we are in the depths of despair, we are going to fall back on defense mechanisms in order to try to protect ourselves emotionally. Also, in order to try to soothe some of that pain. And for some people, depending on how they grew up, depending on the experiences that they've had in their life, depending on what they have come to find works for them, that is how they are going to show up, and that is how they're going to act out. And if retaliation is one of those things, I will be honest with you and tell you that I feel like that is actually a very emotionally immature place to come from. But I can't criticize or judge that person because I don't know what they have been through in their life. I don't know what circumstances they have been in their life that have caused them to come to a place where they feel like retaliation is the only way for them to get any kind of validation or fulfillment from the situation. But there is a lack of emotional intelligence in that. And I think what is important to understand here is that even though you made a mistake, as long as you have acknowledged that mistake, as long as you have taken accountability for that mistake, and as long as you have invested the time into reflecting on why you made the mistakes that you made and have actively made changes in your life, then I do not feel that retaliation is warranted in this situation. So it can be really difficult, right, too, because we feel like we have to make up for our transgressions. So we allow ourselves to let our boundaries down. We allow ourselves to maybe take more punishment than we really should because we feel like we deserve it, and we feel like our partner has every right to do that to us. But at the end of the day, it comes to a point where you also have to respect yourself, and you have to respect your process, and you have to respect the fact that you've invested time in yourself in order to build yourself back up again. And you should not allow that other person to tear you down throughout that. They should also work on themselves. They should also come to understand why they are utilizing retaliation in order to try to feel better, because really that's just a short-term instant gratification way of dealing with a problem, and it doesn't usually result in anything gratifying or anything positive in the long run. So to make a long response short, I do not think retaliation is necessary in any kind of circumstance, right? I think having open and productive and efficient communication is the key to resolving conflict and issues. And if there's any kind of retaliation that's going on, it's only destructive, it's not productive. Hope that answered your question. Cynthia, I appreciate you as well. Stacy, the other thing that Danny, when your spouse has medical problems and it causes strain, especially since they are more invested in this stressful job, which is some of his medical problems. I mean, I would agree with that. I'm not exactly sure if that's a question or not. But no, I think that's definitely a factor. I think having medical issues, I think anything that affects us emotionally, mentally, and spiritually obviously plays a factor in being able to maintain and sustain a healthy relationship and having a successful relationship. But at the end of the day, it's just how you guys approach that together. It's how you work through that together. And it's about also investing in yourself, right? So if you are dealing with a partner who is sick, that can be also emotionally, physically, and mentally draining for you as well. So what are you doing for you? What are you doing to replenish your tank so that you actually have the ability to be supportive throughout this process and also feel like you're not being drained throughout the entirety of this situation? So yes, I thank you for that. And Stacey, I think I've actually seen you leave some comments in our YouTube comments and Facebook comments and stuff like that. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you being here. I'm hearing no volume, so hopefully you guys can hear me now. Sorry if I cut out there. Scott, thank you. I really need the help. If I should be clicking on that link right away, please tell me. Yes, absolutely. You can click on the link and it'll take you directly to the coaching page. The second you book a coaching session, it will go to our customer service team. The customer service team will send me a confirmation, and then I reach out to you directly and I set up a session. I like to think that I make the process pretty easy. So yeah, thank you, Danny, for your advice. May God bless you. Thank you, Dora. I appreciate you. Thank you guys for the confirmation that you can hear me. Perfect. Well, guys, that is all the time that I have for today. I have to jump on another client call in about 2 minutes here, but I appreciate you guys showing up. I appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate the interaction with you guys. So I will actually be having one of these lives for the month of January. It was one of my resolutions for 2022 is to jump on here and do more lives. So I will have one on a weekly basis. So just be on the lookout for those emails. Because if you are part of the list, you will get the emails letting you know when the next live is and what the topic is going to be. So I will see you guys here next week. Again, it was a pleasure seeing you guys all. I hope you're having an amazing 2022. And I'll catch you guys next week. Bye, guys.